Today, how men take control of their lives, one greedy decision at a time. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason.lyle. Now let's get to work. Today you'll learn decision-making is a skill and skills are trained. Meditation teaches men how to pause instead of react. And when you can pause, you get to choose what happens next. This episode is brought to you by David Dodd, Edward Jones McDonough. What's up, my dude? Welcome back to the Sacred Grit Podcast and Gritty Wednesday. Now, we talked about on Sacred Sunday about this ability to stop and make choices, right? This ability to control relapse by going, oh, wait a minute, I can see where this is heading. And I've talked about this before, but in Proverbs, there's a verse that says, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. And what that means is, clearly, that if you are prudent, wise is what the word means. You can see what's coming and go, oh, wait a minute, let me go in a different direction. But the simple, which is actually where we get our English word moron, keep going and suffer for it. So this episode is all about being able to stop and pause and grab a hold of that thought and look at it for just a minute. And the best way I have found to do that is meditation. Now, here's the thing, man, about meditation. I think we think about, men in white linen robes and wooden beads around their neck, but meditation is a tool and decision-making is a skill and skills are trained. So if meditation is a tool and decision-making is a skill, meditation is the tool that you need to hone the skill, right? So to make good decisions is about having, all the information at once. And most of the time that you can access, that information is not as much about what you do see as to what you don't see. So as we talked about on Sacred Sunday, the brain is projecting onto the moment, but you could take a moment and pause. Now, how does meditation do that? Well, meditation teaches me how to pause instead of react. So when I'm sitting in meditation on a daily basis and I'm sitting, however I feel comfortable, I have my eyes closed and I start to follow my breath. Well, I'm sitting in the present moment. And as I sit there, thoughts will come and I just let those thoughts go. Thoughts will come and I just let those thoughts go. And I keep coming back to my breath, coming back to the present moment. Now, what that is starting to do is teaching me how just because a thought comes into my mind doesn't mean that I have to grab a hold of it, right? It means that when a thought comes into my mind, I can let it go. I can examine it actually, and then let it go. Oh, that's just a thought. Now, how that translates into your everyday life is when you can pause, you get to choose what happens next instead of running on autopilot. Most guys, as I said in the last episode, they're forever running on autopilot. So they're, this thing is just, the brain is just projecting. Oh, this always happens. That always happens. They never do that. And so they just keep doing what they always did. They keep getting what they always got. But when you take on a meditation practice, you learn how to pause before you actually make that decision. Now, here's the thing. I feel like I say this all the time, but it just bears repeating. It doesn't happen overnight, my man. Like, it doesn't just happen because you chose to do it all of a sudden. Like, all of a sudden you chose to meditate and say, oh, I can just make all the best decisions now. That's not how this works, right? This works by taking time out of your day every day and meditating and training your brain how to catch thoughts and pause. Catch thoughts, pause, let go. Catch thoughts, pause, let go. Catch thoughts, pause, let go. You might start out with 3, 4, 5 minutes. The science says 12 minutes is the sweet spot where you start getting returns. I try to meditate 15 minutes. Sometimes I do longer, but I do it every single day. I listened to a podcast recently, and a guy said he did 20 minutes every morning, 20 minutes every evening. But he said, like I'm saying, it changed his life. Now, if you're a reading guy or if you listen to audiobooks, I would suggest the book, I think it's called 10% Happier by Dan Harris. It is an amazing book on meditation. And Dan Harris gives some very practical advice inside that book. But here's the basics of how you meditate, my man. First thing is you get comfortable. You don't have to sit in lotus. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You could sit in a chair. You could lay on your back. You could do whatever you want to do. But the first thing you do is you get comfortable. The second thing you do is set a timer. At a time, and you know, guys say to me all the time, I can't sit still that long. Brother, right? Really? 5 minutes? I mean, come on. You could take 5 minutes out of your day. Set a timer for 5 minutes, and you just simply close your eyes, and then you start paying attention to your breath. You notice the breath coming in, you notice the breath going out. And within seconds, thoughts are going to pop into your head. And when they do, let it go. Don't follow it. Don't take it to, you might think, this is so stupid. I don't need to be doing this. I need to get to work. When I get to work, I have to call Joe. When I call Joe, I need to tell Joe about that deal we started on Friday. And, that means he needs to call the bank. Oh, yeah, the bank. Oh, I got to fill out that. That's what you're trying to not do. Now, if you do that, at any moment in that process, my dude, this is where it gets beautiful. You can just come right back to your breath. That's simple. You don't get pissed off. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't meditate. You don't do all that. There's no judgment. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're not striving to make anything happen. All you're doing is letting go and coming back to your breath over and over and over. No matter how many times it takes, you always come back to your breath. And here's what you'll start to notice happens. Over time, you'll notice that you'll catch these tiny pauses throughout your day. And you'll be like, how about that? I saw that happen. I was able to pause. And you will start to see this amazing ability to be reborn into every single moment that you live. And it is a beautiful, beautiful gift. Doesn't mean you'll always make the best decisions, but it does mean you always have the opportunity to. All right, my dude, today you learned decision-making is a skill, and skills are trained. Meditation teaches men how to pause instead of react. And when you can pause, you get to choose what happens next. My dude, thank you for listening. I appreciate you coming back here, and I hope these tools are making a difference in your life. You could drop down into the show notes, click on the free consultation call link, and see if we are a match. I coach folks through spiritual and addiction problems and would love to coach you as well. All right, my dude, this episode is brought to you by Maguziak, Morgan & Brown Dentistry in Griffin, Georgia, mmbdentistry.com. Now, Jody is not only my dentist, he is a friend of mine and one fine fella. If you live in the Griffin area, or hey, look, I drive 2 hours to get down there, hit up mmbdentistry.com and make yourself an appointment. All right, my dude, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on Sacred Sunday.